When did Stevie become a stand-up comedian? I didn't know Stevie retired from being one of the best coaches in the NBA to get on stage and become a comedian. If that's the case, let Uncle Casey give some free, valuable advice to Steve Kerr. Get your ass off the stage and back on the bench. You are the worst comedian I've ever seen. And this is coming from someone who watched his favorite rapper try his hand at stand-up comedy and completely humiliate himself. Did you hear it yesterday? Did you hear all that noise? I'm not talking about the celebrations at Mar-a-Lago. I'm not talking about the celebrations at happy hours across the country as normal people celebrated the return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. Yes, it is. Return of the Mac. Oh my God. Most thought these celebratory songs were coming from people who were excited to see the Trumper return to the White House. They were actually celebrating because they were excited to see cackling Cam Harris return to McDonald's. But the celebratory sounds coming from the songs of joy, that's not the noises that I'm talking about from yesterday. Believe it or not, I'm not talking about the sounds coming from the Butt Bongo Festival either, because it was completely silent. There damn sure wasn't any bongos being tapped. There was no need for Preparation H yesterday, but there was a shortage of Kleenex. The Tampax machine in the men's restroom, it was empty. Those sounds you heard yesterday, they were coming from the incessant whining, the incessant complaining from entitled coaches and players in the NBA, along with the dump divers in the WNBA. Now, I expect whining and complaining from the WNBA. I mean, that's what dump divers are paid to do. They're paid to collect the neighborhood's garbage and whine about it while doing so. While I have come to expect this type of behavior from the NBA, I don't understand it. Your league is struggling. Your league can't draw flies to a fresh turd. Matter of fact, the polished turds that the NBA is presenting, they are acting as repellents. If you're a hunter and you're planning on being in the woods over the next few months, there's no need for insect repellent. Just turn on the NBA. There won't be a fly within 100 fucking miles of you. We are 2 weeks into the NBA season, and this league is being embraced like a wet fart on a first date. I'm not talking about a first date with one of the yentas on The View where the odor of flatulence would be appreciated. I'm talking about a first date with a classy, beautiful woman who immediately leaves the table as soon as the boodle breeze is released. With the NBA struggling to draw ratings, you would think players and coaches would be doing things to attract casual fans. You would think they would be giving casual fans a reason to actually watch their product. Instead, Steve Kerr and LeBron James, they just told almost 73 million people not to bother. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. Earlier this morning on the second channel, we talked about Deshaun Watson and the likelihood that his NFL career is over. So if you haven't already, head on over there and subscribe. Last night, the Rainbow Warriors were in Boston to play the Celtics. As much as I despise his political views, I actually admire and respect Steve Kerr as a coach. Doesn't matter who is playing, doesn't matter who's injured. The Rainbow Warriors, they always have the same identity, which makes sense when you think about it, since they reside in the capital city of identifiers. Steph Curry, he goes down a couple of weeks ago. The Warriors had the same offensive identity. Same movement off ball, same consistency from three. When your NBA team is coached by a weasel like Willie Green, you have a new appreciation for coaches like Steve Kerr who actually know what the hell they're doing. But outside of basketball, Steve Kerr is a complete dunce. Going into the game last night, Stevie didn't know if he was going to be able to coach. Now, thankfully, it wasn't health related. He wasn't having familial issues at home. You see, Stevie was questionable for last night's game because Donald Trump was elected president. Oh no! I don't know know if I'm capable of coaching. I'm so emotional. I'm worried about the children. Oh, it's all about the children. I might need time tonight to digest this tragedy. Oh, oh, oh. Stevie was so distraught. He was so distracted by the Trumper winning the election that the Rainbow Warriors, they went into Boston and won 118 to 112. Stevie was so distracted, his team was able to beat the defending champs on their home floor. After he faked being emotional, after he faked holding back tears, Stevie, he decided to take his dunce cap off and put the doink hat on. Within a matter of seconds, Stevie transitioned from emotional beta male, which they are now referring to as Doug or Tim. Stevie magically transitioned from emotional beta male to late night comedian. All of a sudden, the fake tears stopped flowing and it was time for fake laughter. I wonder if Kamala Harris and her cackling choir were in the crowd to give Stevie the desired response. Because I can tell you with 100% certainty, no one else was laughing at this bullshit. While speaking with the media before the game, Stevie started talking about the Trumper. At a press conference devoted to basketball, Stevie wanted to waste time talking about spray tans. It started off innocently enough. Steve Kerr explained how he believes in democracy even though we live in a republic. And Stevie should know this. He lives in the People's Republic of California. It literally has republic in the title. He talked about accepting the results. He wished Donald Trump and the country well. And then he steered the press conference directly into the bruised caboose. Watch for yourself.
I'm just thankful that there wasn't any voting fraud this time. It's last time, all those illegal immigrants who crashed the border and raped and murdered people and then voted 6 times. That was unfortunate, but thankfully this time everything was clean. So it's great that every election has been really valid, except for that last one 4 years ago. So twinkle in my eye as I say that, in case you couldn't see it.
What was so funny about that? I'm not going to sit here and explain why people questioned the last election. It was 4 years ago. Whatever happened or didn't happen, it really doesn't matter at this point. Me personally, I think the 2020 election was a blessing in disguise. Even though we had 4 years of absolute misery, that misery was needed because it woke people up. It wasn't just Steve Kerr who was whining and complaining yesterday. LeBron James had an emotional moment on Instagram where he vowed to protect his daughter from the orange man. I promise I will protect you from these safe streets. I will protect you from low inflation. I will ensure that you always have friends because you will be the only kid in class who can afford to feed them. Let's just get to the WNBA dump, where the reactions to the Trumper were to be expected. Do you guys remember Natasha Cloud? I know it's been a while since we have talked about Tosh. Well, KC, is she the star of Tosh.0? That show that used to come on Comedy Central? No, but I understand why you would think that. Natasha Cloud is a full-time political activist and a part-time dump diver in the WNBA. She currently plays for the Phoenix Masculines, where she's loyal comrades to the cause with Bob Griner. Yesterday, Tosh got on Twitter to express her fake outrage. We are broken as a country. What is wrong with you people? Why are you electing racism, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, claustrophobia, arachnophobia? This is outrageous. We must ask Kat Engelbert to borrow the Roundup and spray the roots to extinguish these problems. According to Tosh, The hatred of women is deeply rooted in America. Where? Where is this hatred of women in America? I know there might be hatred of women at Woke United Methodist since, they keep allowing men to invade women's sports, but where is this hatred of women with normal people? I don't know anyone who hates women. Do you? I wonder if Natasha Cloud is saying this because the WNBA has been a huge embarrassing failure for the last 30 years. If so, allow me to correct her. Natasha Cloud, the embarrassing failure of the WNBA, it has nothing to do with misogyny. Your league is a huge embarrassing failure because no one wants to watch you miss wide open layups. No one wants to waste their time watching pretend basketball. And speaking of missed layups, Angel Reese also chimed in yesterday morning. Now, this response from Angel Reese, it was somewhat surprising because it came at 6 o'clock in the morning. Normally, Angel's sleeping until at least noon. As you guys know, Angel's on the night shift at the dump. But yesterday morning, Angel Reese said, "As a woman, I am heartbroken." She didn't really clarify why she was heartbroken, but I'm assuming it could either be one of two things. Either her sugar daddy cut her off and she can no longer afford to buy Prada, or Angel Reese is heartbroken because Donnie is taking back the White House. Either way, no one gives a shit what Angel Reese thinks. All kidding aside, if the NBA's not careful, they are going to be overtaken in the ratings by the WNBA. It's one thing to have Natasha Cloud or Angel Reese speak publicly against the Trumper. No one cares because no one's watching the WNBA for Angel Reese, and no one knows who in the hell Natasha Cloud is. People are watching the WNBA for Caitlin Clark, who, to my knowledge, has exercised her right to remain silent, which is a smart business decision. But it's completely different when the faces of your league are doing this. Steve Kerr, LeBron James, these are people with influence. That influence can be positive, or in this case, it could be negative. The NBA just signed a $76 billion deal with the television networks. Now, I can't imagine the networks are happy when two of the loudest voices in the league are telling 73 million people not to watch. Give me your thoughts on this. Stevie Kerr, LeBron James, Angel Reese, Tosh.0. They all complain about the Trumper. Will this impact ratings in the NBA? Will this have any negative impact on the WNBA? Clearly, normal people are not influenced by basketball players and celebrities. If they were, they would have voted for Cam Harris. The average person, they might not have influence publicly, but they can damn sure influence your ratings. If Stevie doesn't believe it, just go ask the mainstream media. Do you think this will have a negative impact on the NBA's ratings? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.